Hi, I'm Dean DeMarzo from DeMarzoRecording.com, and this is a review of the Behringer U-Phoria UM2 audio interface. If you do any kind of work with audio, your audio interface is the most important piece of your setup. Whether you're podcasting or producing music or producing videos, all the audio you create has to go through this interface first to get recorded in the computer. And anything you're listening back to gets played back through that same audio interface. So not only can it color your sound on the way in, it'll color your sound on the way out, meaning you're going to make different mixing decisions if you're producing music, or you may not hear as fine details in dialogue you're editing for a podcast or a video. Having a high-quality audio interface is way more helpful than buying a $1,000 microphone or the nicest preamp. If your audio interface isn't cutting it, nothing you put through it is going to sound good. Now, there are a wide range of audio interfaces on the market, ranging from entry level at just $30 or $40 to thousands and thousands of dollars. Now, obviously in professional recording studios, you're going to see stuff on the higher end as far as audio interfaces go, but the home market is getting more and more affordable in audio interfaces, and that's where the Behringer UM2 fits in. This is right at that bottom level price point at only $29. I picked this up on Amazon. So we're going to kind of put it through its paces today and see how it stacks up against some other audio interfaces. So the UM2 comes with all the features you'd expect on a standard USB audio interface. On the front we have two inputs. One is a combination input that takes either an XLR or a 1/4 inch input. The 1/4 inch input you'd use for line level signals or instrument inputs like a guitar or a bass. It also has a second instrument input in input 2. So you do have two inputs at once on this, though only one of them can be a microphone. Also has a headphone out on the front, as well as a button that activates direct monitoring. And I'll explain what that means in a minute. On the back, we have some pretty standard outputs. We have the USB connector here, which will connect to your computer, and that supplies the power for this as well. We have a pair of RCA outputs that'll go to the speakers. Right off the bat, this is my biggest gripe with this level of audio interface. They usually only have RCA outputs. I don't have any speakers that use RCA. You're not really going to find studio monitors that use RCA too often as compared with 1/4 inch or XLR. So that's a point off there for me. It does also have a 48 volt switch on the back, which you'll need if you're going to use any kind of condenser microphone or any other device that requires phantom power. On the top, we have this very simple control scheme. We just have the gain for input 1, the gain for input 2, and the output volume. It could not be simpler than that. So I'm going to test out the UM2 with the two things I record most, and that's obviously the electric guitar and a voice. So we'll try this out with a microphone in a minute. Right now, I've got my guitar plugged straight into the instrument input 1 here. My headphones are plugged into the headphone output, and then I've got direct monitor engaged. And what that means is as I play here, it'll play straight into my headphones without even going to the computer yet. In addition to sending it to the computers, it plays a direct feed straight through my headphones, so I have zero latency in my ears. Now, unfortunately, I can't put any effects on that, no amp simulators or reverb or anything. So that is the driest of the dry signals coming out of here. But it is zero latency, and I do like that for tracking. So I'll be tracking with zero latency direct monitoring on into Pro Tools right now. Okay, just for comparison's sake, we're going to try out the same riff, same guitar, same settings, same everything through my Antelope Discrete 8, which is my main interface, just to see how much of an impact the interface can have on your sound. The biggest difference I heard was in the treble range of the guitar. You could hear on the discrete 8 some real clarity in the chords, the transients in my picking during the second section that really just weren't coming through on the Behringer. So that's a big minus for me, is that it's got this very kind of rolled off highs situation in the UM2. It is still a perfectly functional interface, but for guitar, it's not my favorite that I've tried. I'd easily go with a Scarlett over this one. Next up, I'm just gonna simply test out this microphone. I'll say the same phrase into this microphone. This is an AKG C414B. And I'll say this into the microphone connected to the UM2 and then into the discrete 8. Testing 1, 2, 3. Trying out the microphone interface. Testing 1, 2, 3. Trying out the microphone interface. Now, I'll be honest, I didn't notice a difference between the UM2 and my discrete 8 when it came to the spoken word test. That means this is perfect for podcasting or any kind of spoken word stuff. Recording audiobooks, doing voiceovers, anything like that. This thing is fantastic. Like I said, I'd be hesitant to use this in any kind of music situation, especially recording guitars. You saw how limited it was in that capacity. But if you've got a home podcasting studio or any other kind of situation besides recording music where you need to record audio, this thing's fantastic and absolutely worth it for the money. Now, the other side of this is the output, how listening to music sounds through the device. And it's just fine. I went back and forth between the discrete 8 and the UM2 a lot, A/B testing the differences between them in terms of listening to music. And I've listened to like a million songs on my discrete 8. It's my main recording studio interface. So I've heard a lot through it. I know it very well. And it wasn't that big of a difference between it and the UM2. Now, obviously, there's a little more clarity, a little more depth in the sound of the higher-end interface, but it costs about 50 times as much, so I hope it has a little more clarity. As far as mixing or editing anything goes on the UM, it's fine. It's great. Like I said, my literal only complaint is that guitar doesn't sound great through it. So in conclusion, this is a perfectly fine little audio interface, especially for the price. I mean, $29, you can't beat that. Like I said, I didn't like the sound of my guitar through it. It felt a little muffled and restricted, but the spoken word has been fine through it. You can make your own decision based on that. I mean, the next thing I'd recommend up from here is something like the Scarlett Solo or the Scarlett 2i2. That was my main interface for years and years. Mine finally bit the dust after much mistreatment and abuse. But I do plan on picking up another one and reviewing the newer model very soon. That said, if your budget is under that $100 mark and you'd rather go for something around $30, this is a fantastic choice. Thanks so much for watching. If you like this video, please subscribe down below for more videos like this one. I also do some music production tutorials and lessons, and I post my own music on here. If you have any questions about the Behringer UM2 or anything else about music production, leave them in the comments down below and I will get back to you. That's all for today. I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.